was billed as the ultimate sports podcast.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Everybody has been waiting.
I'm God gifted.
He's a bull. I'm the matador.
This is the Weekend Guy Podcast, and it begins now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Weekend Guy Podcast with Sihle. It's another one, guys, another week, first week of December, ne?
Yes,
Yeah,
December figile.
December is here in South Africa. We say, get December, boss.
Hell yes, hell
yeah,
yes.
man, we're back.
It's hot.
Sihle. Say hi to the people, man.
Welcome to our subscribers, our new viewers. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Our international subscribers. It's the Weekend Guys. And yeah, guys, welcome back to another podcast.
Epic episode, another epic podcast, guys. I think we're in episode 20.
Hey, we're making moves. We're making moves. Building.
I think it's taken us a long time to get to episode 20 due to certain disruptions. But I'm hoping next year we'll be more consistent and be able to, do another 20 before mid-year.
We want to give you guys more content because the sport's not going to stop and we've got a whole lot of stuff to discuss. But also we've got an entire Weekend Guy universe. So make sure you also check out the other channels within our podcast universe.
Mm-hmm. The ones where I go to the stadiums.
Yeah,
you see that the
gaming
building
ones.
A beat. There's the gaming and the ones that go to the stadiums. Got like 3 episodes in now.
Listen,
So
it's
I'm
growing
like
slowly but
Slowly
surely.
but surely. It's very interesting to be actually doing that one.
Indeed.
Talk about interesting. I
Yes.
see you wearing a team's t-shirt today.
Yeah.
And let's just dive right into it, mate. Let's just dive right into it. It's one of those things.
Yeah, man. A 1-0 loss to Newcastle. Our second loss against them this season. And if I'm not mistaken, it's now 3 games in a row that they've beaten us.
Them.
Yeah, ever since the Carabao final, every time we've played Newcastle,
They come back.
yeah, man, they've beat us all the time. And this weekend was even more disappointing because there's a stat, I think in the last 2 seasons, Man United has not won a game against any of the top 8 teams in the Premier League. So it's concerning. Our expectations weren't title bound, but if you want to be in the Champions League, you need to beat teams in the top 8 as well.
Yeah. Newcastle is a Champions League team
Right now,
this season.
they almost beat PSG, during the week.
So Man U is not at that level to be able to be, giving Newcastle that kind of competition because they're not a Champions League team this season.
Yeah, it's disappointing. They've regressed.
Yeah, they've regressed a lot,
Yeah.
and it's bad. I heard you mention that it's a bit of a mix there.
Yeah, it is because, more often than not, the average supporter is going to either call for Ten Hag's head or it's the usual chorus, get the players out, I actually read up that during Jose's years, we had about 5 or 6 of these players in the squad. During Ragnick's years, there was about 7. And during Ole's years, there was about 8 or 9 still in the squad, And 2 typical examples of how we still stuck into the past is players like Martial.
Okay.
The man is on big wages, doesn't complete 90 minutes of game, and isn't scoring regularly enough. He should have been gone 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Typical example, or where we are as Man United, is the story of Scott McTominay. He didn't play too badly on Saturday, but
You scored, most.
no, we lost 1-0.
Oh, you lost.
Yeah,
you scored
yeah.
the previous game.
If I'm not mistaken, but it was such a farce of a game. So but for example, Scott was on our transfer list at the end of the season. Ten Hag had made up his mind that no, this man must go. But if I can recall, the last 5 games he started. So what's the philosophy in saying guys who you saw throughout the season, you deemed
Unworthy.
unworthy, and you couldn't then sell, and now all of a sudden they've started 5 games in a row.
But it's the same story with Maguire, most.
Yeah, but Maguire, at least his form has improved, outside of us having a disastrous Champions League, in the Premier League we had 5 clean sheets, so that was an indication that the defense was heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
But to make it worse, or to show how lucky we are, there's a stat, right, that the most shots on target conceded, right? You've got Sheffield United, Luton United, and guess who's number 3?
Man United.
Man United, you know? And if you are allowing our positions to shoot more than anyone else, those shots are going to turn into goals.
For me, I'm looking at this thing differently. I'm seeing it differently. I'm seeing it as a weakness by Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Here's why I say so.
Do tell.
Ten Hag is poor at player management. Ne?
Yeah, it's very questionable.
Very questionable. His player management skills are very questionable. If Maguire was able to play, or is able to play like playing this season, at this current stage of the season, what was happening last season?
I think maybe last season it's the burden of captaincy also, you know.
Okay, that's fine.
And he was also then the scapegoat when we weren't playing too good.
And then McTominay
wasn't good enough from the beginning, you know.
But that has changed this year. He seems to think that he is good enough.
Yeah,
I've never been not a fan of him. He's an average player, but he will get you the work done in the midfield.
True, but also then they're not using him to his strengths, because, for example, in front of the back four, we have the protection, the 2 6s, for example, right? Last season, for majority of the time, it was Casemiro and Eriksen, you know, one who does the defensive duty and the other one who's good at passing from deep, right? This season, Casemiro has been out for, or is going to be out for an extended period of time, so you then needed to replace him, right? In the off-season, we then loaned Amrabat, right? Amrabat isn't seeing game time at all, right? Yeah, more questions. But Ten Hag is then insisting with playing with McTominay as that defensive central midfielder, you know?
It comes back to what I'm always saying. Ten Hag is overwhelmed.
You're right.
He's overwhelmed by his job. He's overwhelmed by what his vision is. He doesn't have a clear vision of what he wants the team in the long term to be looking like. I feel like he's not seeing himself in the long term coaching Man U. And this is where Man U needs to come and make a decision to say, okay, do we want to continue with this thing? Because as you guys can see, some players who are in the wilderness, they're being brought back out of nowhere. You ask yourself, I would ask myself as a board member, what was happening last season? Why couldn't you get the best out of these players last season? Yeah. But this season you can get the best out of this player. What kind of man management skills do you have?
Yeah, because for example, last season expectations very low. It was supposed to be a transitioning season.
Yes.
We qualified for Champions League and won a trophy. So it was almost like a bonus kind of season, right? In reality, we are now in the evolution phase of the Ten Hag project, season 2, right? Yeah. So the guys understand his playing patterns or vision, as you say, or they should. And it doesn't seem like there's buy-in or they understand. But I think more telling, I don't think the personnel that we have can execute his vision.
His vision, because if the vision is clear, you would understand your what do they call them? There's pawns,
the structures,
and there's the backline in chess. So you would understand that, okay, who's my pawn, who's my backline? Yeah. And be able to get the best, because remember the guys in the chessboard, the superstars are at the back most, your queens, your kings, and horses and knights. So he should be having a hierarchy of those players. Then I've got my pawns up front to support those guys. Yeah. To move my vision forward. That's what I'm saying. Not to say that I take a pawn out. Okay, if you're taking the pawn off the board, that's it. Stick with the decision. Yeah. Don't now suddenly bring back another pawn. I get you deem the guy a pawn. Yeah. He was never a
bishop, a knight.
Yes. He was never a king, a queen, a bishop, a knight. You took him out of the board.
Yes.
But now all of a sudden you bring him back. Like in the whole Maguire scenario, he's suddenly now in the back line as a knight. Yeah. How's that even possible?
But also, I think maybe an example we must look at is, right, when we look at the spine of the team,
yes,
you know, you look at the goalkeeper, you ask the question, is he world class?
No.
The two centre backs, are they world class?
No.
The central midfield, are they world class?
Done for.
The central attacking midfield, is he world class? The centre forward, is he world class?
Okay, Rashford on his good days.
No, but he's left wing or right wing.
Yeah, left wing. Who's playing nine?
No, I'll make an example of a team where they tick the boxes, right?
Yeah.
I'll use Man City because they're the standard bearers.
Yeah.
Right? We've got Stones and Akanji, for example. World-class international players, right? In the middle, they've got Rodri, who was nominated for Player of the Season. In front of him, you've got De Bruyne, who's world-class. In front of De Bruyne, you've got Haaland, who's world-class.
World-class, yeah.
So if your spine isn't strong and world-class,
this is where it gets confusing with Ten Hag. We thought his vision was to take his unknown players, like your Onanas, for example.
Yeah.
Did well at Ajax, did well at Inter.
Yeah.
Comes to Man U. Suddenly he's garbage. Then you ask yourself, is it if a player like Onana can be overwhelmed by the pressure at Man U, and then the person who brought him in, how do you think he's feeling?
Yeah,
he has to be having sleepless nights because the players he bought, he thought he'd bring in superstars.
Yeah.
They're not quite at the level of Man U or English Premier League, for example.
Yeah.
So this way you ask your question is that if this manager is looking at this thing like this thing, so his vision, if you look at Ten Hag's vision, the players he's bringing in are former Ajax players, most of them.
Yeah, or for my Eredivisie.
Yeah, Eredivisie players.
Yeah.
And we all know in Eredivisie, not every player is English Premier League material.
That's true, and we've seen it time and time
again. Yeah.
Guys
so even Onana did well in Italy, but the pressure of being in the Premier League is a whole different level.
True. And it's unfortunate that for him, it's almost like Man United last season again where they're learning how to play Ten Hag's way, right?
Yeah.
Because he was specifically bought for shot stopping and his ability to play out from the back. Right?
He doesn't do any of that. He shots. He's really shots.
Yeah,
but
it's questionable.
Playing out the back, he's not confident in his legs.
No, he's not confident in the back four.
Yeah,
because the talent is there, right? But the guys he's distributing the ball, remember, have played probably 5-6 seasons with De Gea. So to them, when a goalkeeper gives them a ball in space or in a 50-50 situation, first reaction is to panic.
They can't cope, Very panicking like a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And other players are taking time to, I think, adjust to that. Or when the keeper has space, the ball, run into space so that he can give you
the ball. Yeah.
So for me, that I won't be too hard on him because it's his first season. But the guys in front of him should be doing a much better job.
Are not good enough to be at Man United.
Yes.
And the problem with that now with Ten Hag and his recruiting, he is not recruiting. Okay, the future players is bringing in, or whoever is bringing in, he's saying he's the future, whatever. They are not like a future which we normally see at Man U, for example. Like I'm gonna make an example when. But
you can't be recruiting, developing players
all the entire time. You can't. You
need ready-made
players.
Because
especially now with the whole shareholder thing being sorted out.
Because I'll say this, I think the rebuttal to bringing developing players for our viewers out there, right? Man United believes in their academy.
Yeah.
Those are the people they'll say, hey, we'll develop you, right? But players who are brought in from other clubs need to be on the brink of stardom.
Yes, literally
or bona fide superstars. Yes.
And then your Van Nistelrooys.
Yes.
Who else has been a hit when he came to Man U? All the even Alex Ferguson, the players he was recruiting were already at superstar level when they came. Your Babitovs,
and to highlight how poor recruitment is. Probably it's Bruno Fernandes is the only world-class player who hit the ground running and came in and made his star shine better.
He's the only one,
Exactly. So there's a lot of questions for my team, but I think we should find out from our viewers, guys, should Erik ten Hag go or should he stay? What would or what should he do differently? Because it's December and the games are coming thick and fast.
It's Christmas time, yeah.
Yeah,
It's very busy.
they're coming thick and fast.
So I don't know, guys. If you guys have an opinion, please feel free to drop it down below in the comment section. Tell us your views, guys, because we are actually I'm actually dumbfounded. Let me be honest. Let's put it like that. With the
they should be making progress.
Yes, because now we've been. For me, it feels like an era where you're still tolerating mediocrity. So it started with Mourinho. Okay, Mourinho didn't do too badly.
Yes.
The guy after him was who was after him?
It was Ragnick.
Yeah, Ragnick. That was bullshit. Let's be honest. But Ragnick.
No, sorry, it was Ole. After Ole was Ragnick. Yeah.
But apparently Ragnick, when he came through with a list of players that Man U should have bought.
Yeah. And
Haaland was in that list. But he was still in Red Bull, whatever. He was still in the before he went to Dortmund. So there's quite a number of current players who are superstars, which
he's lost.
Yeah, which Ragnar came with, and then the board rejected him for those players.
Yeah.
So, okay, I won't call him mediocre because I didn't understand how he was a coach in the first place. He's more like a director.
100%.
He's not like a coach. And then who came after him?
Ten Hag.
So it's been an era of appointing mediocre coaches who are not used to the level of football. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. Who are not used to the level of football which is being played in the Premier League.
Yeah, but also those mediocre coaches develop mediocre players.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is where they're getting it wrong. Man U. Man U is supposed to be buying a Premiership hardened coach, meaning that you've played Premiership football. You've had a long-lasting career in the Premier League.
You know what it's about.
You know what's about. You know what's at stake. You know the pressure. You know everything. And then the next thing they should look at is this guy has coached in the Premier League.
And what is his results?
What are his results?
To perform in this league?
Just what I'm saying. So here's what Arsenal did, for example. They took Arteta, who has played in the Premier League.
Who knows the expectations.
Knows everything. And then has coached in the Premier League as well. Luckily, he was coached by he was assistant to Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
But he's able to see the vision of what it takes to drive a team forward in the EPL.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? I do have a few candidates in mind, but obviously people would like okay, I'm crazy.
Save those candidates.
Let's save them for later. But they should always look at coaches. Obviously, if you're gonna go outside England or you look at the likes of an elite coach now. You look at Ancelotti. You look at your Mourinho's and so on who have come and gone. You look at the Chelsea guy who won them the league, the Italian guy.
Conte.
You look at those guys. I think he's available. I don't know what's up with his story, but you look at those kind of guys. If you're gonna go outside the league, but remember with Conte now at this stage, he's blooded in the Premier League. He's won the league.
He's won it before. Yeah.
Yes, so that's an elite coach.
Yeah, the verdict is still hard for Ten Hag. For me, I've always had this theory that I'll judge him fully after his third season. Because, the first season you're there to observe, see what needs to go or what needs to stay. Second season, you are embedding your philosophy through and through, and you're separating the pretenders to the people you want. Third season, everyone should be on the same page about your philosophy, the culture that you've set.
Yeah, the thing
and
does
at the end of the season, I think he'll make it to the end of the third season.
But the way you see the football being played,
look, it's not the best football, right? But for example, right now, a pro Ten Hag point will be we are just 9 points off the top. That's 3 games, right? We are just, I think, 4 points off fourth place, right? So we are there, but not there, right? And the underwhelming results have been against the big teams. But when we look at numbers, right, he's doing an average job.
An average job at Manchester United.
Right, but he's going to say, look, the project...
So you were saying we need to look at Man U this way. It's an elite team.
Yeah.
And not just anyone can coach it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
You will never find a Ten Hag coaching Madrid, for example. Do you understand?
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
But you'll never find a Ten Hag coaching Madrid because he's not at the level which they feel would be able to drive forward their vision of what they want for their team. Ten Hag is part of the Erika Ragnarok, Ole Solskjaer, and those regular guys, who have not had the brutal experience of coaching in the Premier League. Do you understand?
And his first rodeos with United.
Yes. Imagine going to the Premier League, coming from the Eredivisie. You coach Man U. If you're coming from Eredivisie, you try to coach in Everton. Build your reputation there first.
Then move your way
and then move your way up. You can't just go into an elite team like that and expect to perform miracles which are beyond your skill level at this current moment.
Hey, because his skill level is questioned, and I think one thing you mentioned earlier is there's a question mark on his man management, right? Because just this past weekend, Rashford obviously had a red card in the Champions League, so he didn't play in midweek. So he was fresh for Saturday.
The weekend, yeah.
And he did not perform, but more than anything else, the body language
it's not there.
From him was not there, right? And after the match, Ten Hag comes out and says, look, he'll speak to Rashford in private and not in public, you know? And for a whole lot of people, they were like, what the hell? Because if we go back, he criticized Jesse Lingard in public. He criticized Ronaldo in public. He criticized Sancho in public. So now all of a sudden, what's going on? You know,
he's in preschool. He's learning how to manage players at Man U.
Yeah. So now what is this? You know, I'm not advocating for him to criticize Rashford in public, but for me,
the precedent is that you criticize in public.
Exactly.
But now all of a sudden, it's like you've gone for training. You're now realizing your mistakes.
Yeah.
That okay, I'm supposed to not be doing this in public, but you've done it before.
Indeed, and unfortunately, I hate going back to this topic. It then brings into question the Sancho debacle.
Of course it does. All of them, not even Sancho, all of the players, like all of them, your Ronaldos, your Pogbas, everybody who's left. Because those guys were the back row of the chessboard. They're not the front row. And now those guys are superstars. It goes back to the same concept that this guy is not good enough to get the best out of his superstars.
It's the early days.
It's not. He's not. If you look at your elite coaches, I'm talking about, you say Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
A Ruud van Nistelrooy would come into Man U. Ne? I don't even remember hearing a single issue that Ruud van Nistelrooy has got an attitude problem when he's not performing on any day. He came in like a house on fire, bruh.
Yeah.
You understand? He came into a Man U team, but came in like a house on fire.
Yeah.
That's Man U. We know. That's the Man U we know. Not this one we're looking at the moment. It's not adding up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, I always say it as I see it. Obviously, it's not always correct. But for me, a Man U needs a Conte level type of coach, regardless of his mistakes.
Okay.
But a proven Champions League winning. I don't know if he's won the Champions League, Conte.
No.
Yeah, but Premier League winning or Champions League winning coach. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because those guys now have been through the trenches of playing in the Premier League midweek and doing what is the thing called?
Premier League.
The Premier League on the weekend.
Yeah.
A clear example, Jurgen Klopp reached the Champions League final. That made him an elite coach.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Then you could recruit him to England because he's an elite coach. Immediately you reach the Champions League final.
Yeah.
You go into the bracket of elite coaches.
In Ten Hag's defense, he got to the Champions League semi-final.
No,
with
that's not final. That's not final. That's not final.
But I think more than anything else, we're falling into the typical Man United cycle, right? Whereby we get a new coach, the hope is sky high. They start playing well for bits and patches. We're like, Man United's coming back. Then the results start to show themselves. The style of play starts to show themselves. And then we want to get rid of the coach. And for me, the approach this time should be different, right? That squad needs to be overhauled. There are players in that squad who should not be in that squad. You know, people need to go, you know? And for me, Ten Hag, if he wants to save himself, he needs to let go of people, whether it's for free or for £1 million or whatever. But you got to let people go, you know? Because for me, a typical example when we look at the 10 years of Pep and Klopp, or I'll even add Arteta, right? If you look at the majority of their squad, majority of Pep, Klopp and Arteta squads, right? Those teams have been overhauled within the first 2 seasons of them being there.
Yes.
Right? And Ten Hag needs to follow suit if he's going to survive.
Yes.
If he keeps the core of these players, they are going to be his detriment and downfall, just like they've let the last 3 or 4 coaches down.
2 teams down. But another thing for me, Sihle, is that you made a point about Arteta and rebuilding.
Yeah.
There's that Newcastle coach. What's the guy's name?
Eddie Howe.
Okay. Eddie Howe, before he coached Newcastle, obviously Newcastle was not elite
he was
team,
at
it's mid-table.
Bournemouth,
It was Bournemouth, but he was Premier League blooded, fighting relegation.
Yeah, but I think for the longest time, Bournemouth was playing above.
Proper
average
football, mid-table. They were nice. They were proper.
Yeah.
They were proper.
Then they transfer strategy caught up with them.
And then they went down. So I'm just saying that the talent for Man U, first of all, is still within England to find that person, that special person, not the special one. But I'm just saying that in England, if you look deep enough,
I don't know who would be good enough.
Patrick Vieira, for example, isn't he coaching Crystal Palace?
No, he's in France now.
He's left. He's left, but he knows.
He's coaching Marseille.
But they didn't get relegated, Mus.
No.
Yeah.
But they got rid of him. They were on
they got rid of him. Yeah. There are some coaches who are coming into what we always say. These mediocre teams, your Spanish coaches, they come into the Premier League, coach your Wolves and coaches the other teams. Those kind of players. Yeah. But those coaches, if the guy has been here for like 5 years, coaching a mediocre mid-table team, but still surviving and getting some victories over these big teams. But you have to look at that for the future.
But also the problem with also getting a mid-table coach and moving them to the big 6 teams, the players will always question pedigree. What have you won?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so, if you go to Man U, for example.
Because if I'd say guys who are at the top of the food chain, who are internationals, would tend to respect either coaches who've won trophies before their time, or former international players.
Like a Vieira.
Conte again, and
isn't it like a Euro? World Cup winning.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Why don't you even go for Zidane? I mean, make an offer to Zidane. He's available.
Zidane is enjoying his time in retirement.
He's
got a love affair with Madrid and the French national team.
Yeah, so you see, there are still guys whom you can say, look, the pool is not that closed up for Man U that they need to persevere with Ten Hag for so long. I'm just saying, for me, and now we're going to be moving on to the next team, that he's not good enough to be coaching Man U. And unfortunately, at this stage, it doesn't look like for me. And I'm a harsh judge, man, I only give you 10 games. I only give you 10 games and that's it. So I feel like for me, he's not at the elite level to be able to be managing such a big team. And unfortunately, at this stage, it's very disappointing.
Sure.
It's very, very disappointing to watch. And I'm not a Man U supporter, by